The 1980s gave us comedies, so shameless and boundary-pushing that studios couldn't decide whether to promote them or apologize for them. Hollywood stopped worrying about good taste long enough to let filmmakers create anarchic messes that offended critics, horrified parents, and somehow became the exact movies audiences couldn't stop watching or quoting for decades. Airplane turned Leslie Nielsen from a forgotten dramatic actor into comedy royalty, and the journey from serious leading man to deadpan genius almost didn't happen because Hollywood couldn't imagine the guy from Forbidden Planet delivering jokes with a straight face. Former fighter pilot Ted Stryker boards a flight to win back his ex-girlfriend Elaine, except fate intervenes when contaminated fish knocks out the entire crew and most passengers, forcing this traumatized washout to land the plane while surrounded by the most absurd chaos ever filmed. The genius move nobody saw coming was the Zucker-Abraham-Zucker team betting the farm on casting dramatic actors in comedic roles, with Leslie Nielsen as Dr. Rumack representing their biggest gamble because the guy had spent decades playing stone-faced authority figures. Nielsen was so desperate for the career pivot that he reportedly told his agent he'd work for free, sensing this oddball disaster parody could resurrect his fading relevance. The filmmakers trusted Nielsen's dramatic training would amplify the humor through complete seriousness, and the actor committed fully by treating every ridiculous line like Shakespeare, while secretly terrorizing the set with a fart machine he used to ruin takes. Nielsen's transformation became legendary when the film exploded, with directors immediately developing the Naked Gun franchise, specifically for his newfound comedic talents. The British Ratings Board flagged scenes involving blow-up dolls in compromising positions and a flight attendant casually snorting cocaine while critics debated whether the content would corrupt younger audiences. Musical legend Ethel Merman's final screen appearance as a shell-shocked soldier added this strange sentimental layer, with the Zucker brothers treasuring her participation as a symbolic passing of Hollywood's comedic torch. The controversy and Nielsen's career resurrection proved that the best way to reinvent yourself is by treating complete nonsense with absolute conviction. Porky's became the most controversial teen comedy of the early 1980s, sparking moral panic that somehow only made it more popular. A rowdy group of teenage boys at 1954, Florida's Angel Beach High School, fixate on losing their virginity, leading them to Porky's strip club where they get humiliated and robbed, sparking an elaborate revenge scheme filled with locker room voyeurism and the hapless Pee-wee's quest to finally get laid. Kim Cattrall signed on as Coach Honeywell, fully aware she'd be filming the now legendary Lassie scene, where her character fakes an orgasm so loudly she starts howling like a dog in a gym equipment room, and her performance rattled the entire soundstage hard enough that neighboring productions actually stopped filming just to eavesdrop. Director Bob Clark encouraged Kim to improvise until her physical commitment matched the comedic pitch, spending a full day filming while the actress felt simultaneously exposed and liberated, later describing how playing for comedy instead of glamour freed her to tackle bolder roles. The film triggered severe controversy upon release, with parents and religious leaders denouncing its explicit sexual humor, while censorship boards in multiple countries demanded extensive cuts. Canadian provinces removed full scenes, Britain and Australia edited entire reels, and US ratings boards threatened an X rating unless producers trimmed locker room gags. Cable television temporarily banned the film in the Bible Belt, while underground rental shops circulated bootleg tapes, turning censorship into brilliant marketing. Dan Monahan playing Pee-wee agonized over being branded Hollywood's eternal virgin, while cast members clashed over whether the crude tone would embarrass their future prospects. Nancy Parsons worried the crude sexual humor would damage her reputation as a dramatic actress, while several young actors felt branded by the film's notoriety in ways that either opened doors to controversial work or shut them out of prestigious projects entirely. Police Academy gave Steve Guttenberg his breakout role as the wisecracking troublemaker Carrie Mahoney, but what audiences didn't see was how the actor's off-screen party culture and ringmaster energy created the genuine chaos that made the film's misfit dynamic feel so authentic. The story follows Mahoney and a crew of unlikely recruits, including gentle giant Hightower, sound effects master Jones, and wealthy rebel Karen, who converge on the police academy after the city drops entrance standards, turning law enforcement training into this anarchic battle between the ragtag cadets and antagonistic Lieutenant Harris, who's desperate to wash them out before graduation. What's fascinating about this production is how Guttenberg turned the set into an extension of Mahoney's rebellious personality, leading pranks and maintaining this infectious energy during brutal shooting days that helped forge real bonds between actors who were essentially living the misfit camaraderie their characters experienced. The cast spent weeks improvising scenes and cutting loose in ways that captured genuine spontaneity, with Guttenberg encouraging everyone to undermine authority and embrace the film's anarchic spirit, both on camera and between takes. The filmmakers faced serious battles with ratings boards over the film's adult content, particularly scenes involving prostitutes at wild parties and Commandant Lassard's unexpected encounter at a lectern that sparked moral panic among parent groups who claimed the movie would degrade respect for law enforcement. The climactic riot sequence became a production nightmare, requiring complicated coordination with extras and stunt performers, nearly spinning out of control when a police cruiser stunt went dangerously wrong and risked genuine injuries while exhausted actors navigated both scripted chaos and improvised mayhem. Guttenberg and the cast executed last-minute changes under pressure that added real tension, essentially living out their characters' transformation from outcasts to unlikely heroes through actual production crises. The controversy over risque content, combined with the actors' genuine chemistry, created this perfect storm, where the film's rebellious energy felt earned rather than manufactured, influencing the endless comedy franchises that followed, while cementing Guttenberg as the lovable screw-up who could anchor ensemble chaos through sheer charisma. Trading Places literally shut down billions of dollars in real trading when Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd's star power proved more distracting than actual money changing hands. Wealthy Duke brothers Randolph and Mortimer make a bet about nature versus nurture by destroying sophisticated managing director Louis Winthorpe's life while elevating street hustler Billy Ray Valentine into corporate luxury, except the two victims discover the cruel experiment and team up with prostitute Ophelia to bankrupt the Dukes by pulling off an orange juice future scam on the trading floor. The production needed authentic chaos for the climactic exchange scenes, so they filmed inside Four World Trade Center during actual trading sessions, which immediately became a disaster when Murphy and Aykroyd's presence distracted traders so badly that billions in transactions had to be halted. The crew initially tried shooting on weekdays, but the disruptions were so severe they got forced to weekends, with the director later admitting real traders showed rougher physicality during normal business than what made it on screen. Murphy was riding high after 48 hours and brought raw improvisation that clashed with the original screenplay, tossing out dialogue that felt phony and spontaneously creating moments like the Court of Blood jail survival technique that made the final cut. Aykroyd complemented Murphy's energy with his Saturday Night Live precision, creating this collaborative atmosphere that elevated the screenplay, while veteran actors Don Ameche and Ralph Bellamy struggled with the cruder humor, with Ameche actually apologizing on set for dropping a profane line due to his old-school professionalism. Jamie Lee Curtis fought uphill battles with Paramount executives who doubted the Scream Queen could handle comedy or play sophisticated characters, taking a massive pay cut from her horror salary, while director John Landis insisted her intelligence would bring fresh dimensions to the role. Curtis improvised creative touches like mixing a German outfit with a Swedish accent to fool characters, proving her versatility and earning respect from the male-dominated comedic ensemble. The film's success pivoted Curtis beyond horror stereotypes while cementing Murphy and Aykroyd as comedy royalty, demonstrating that sometimes the best performances come from actors rejecting what's written and trusting their instincts over studio doubts. The Man with Two Brains gave Steve Martin the perfect vehicle to blend physical comedy with the darkest absurdist humor of his career. Eccentric surgeon Dr. Michael pioneers revolutionary cranial surgery techniques, but makes the catastrophic mistake of marrying gold digger Dolores Benedict after saving her life, enduring her schemes and fake illnesses until he meets Dr. Necessiter in Vienna, who keeps murder victims' brains alive in jars, leading Michael to fall telepathically in love with Anne's brain before eventually transplanting it into Dolores' body. Martin approached the role with surgical precision, meticulously choreographing awkward robotic gestures and neurotic mannerisms that sold the character's peculiar nature, while collaborating extensively with directors to perfect sequences involving brain surgery and telepathic communication. The challenge was balancing genuine laughs with surreal elements, without tipping into complete farce, requiring Martin's professionalism to ground the bizarre storyline in consistent character work that distinguished it from pure slapstick. Kathleen Turner struggled with the tonal shifts playing manipulative wife Dolores, finding the mix of dark comedy and outright camp difficult to navigate while trying to keep her scheming antagonist believable amid Martin's eccentric improvisations. Turner later described maintaining emotional authenticity while reacting to outlandish antics as one of her toughest acting challenges, though her willingness to fully engage with the film's unusual style made Dolores one of her most memorable comedic roles. The production's most startling moment came from casting television host Merv Griffin as the deranged elevator killer, a cameo that shocked viewers and worried studio executives who debated cutting the scene for its bizarre nature and potential backlash. Martin and director Carl Reiner fought to keep Griffin's appearance, valuing its contribution to the movie's unpredictable spirit, with the cameo becoming a cult favorite that epitomized the film's blend of absurdism and celebrity culture, while illustrating the constant tension between creative risks and commercial safety in 1980s comedy filmmaking. Just one of the guys asked Joyce Heiser to spend months pretending to be a teenage boy, and the personal toll of that transformation nearly destroyed her career before it even started. High-achieving student Terry Griffith gets denied a summer newspaper internship because of sexism, so she cuts her hair, disguises herself as a male student at a neighboring high school, and befriends shy outsider Rick Morehouse while coaching him through bullying and inadvertently creating this intense connection that threatens to expose her secret. Heiser spent weeks studying male body language in public settings, observing teenage boys' speech patterns and mannerisms, until the director suggested she stay in character off camera to help other actors respond naturally, which left her exhausted and emotionally stretched as maintaining the illusion altered her own sense of identity. The actress recalled feeling constant anxiety about whether audiences would accept the switch, with the pressure compounded by the film's modest budget that demanded a swift, high-pressure shoot where every take counted and mistakes couldn't be afforded. The real chaos erupted over the climactic reveal scene, where Terry exposes her true identity, a moment filmmakers saw as the emotional payoff, while studio executives worried it might push the film into R-rated territory. Test audiences reacted wildly, some shocked and others supportive, forcing producers into intense negotiations where studio officials pleaded with the director to cut or obscure the brief nudity, while the creative team refused to budge. The scene survived with only minor edits, but remains a lightning rod in discussions about 1980s teen comedies, while Heiser faced unexpected Hollywood backlash, as casting agents began associating her with tomboy or androgynous roles that limited audition opportunities for years. The actress fought hard to break free from the just one of the guys image, with industry doubts about her conventional romantic appeal, forcing her toward television work while she remained fiercely proud of the film's cult status, among generations of fans who appreciated her commitment to a role that demanded she temporarily erase her own identity. Head Office threw Rick Moranis into corporate satire chaos, where his understated comedy style clashed violently with the film's frenetic slapstick vision. Idealistic senator son Billy lands an entry-level job at a sprawling multinational firm where he stumbles through absurd office politics, unwittingly ascending company ranks while discovering ethical corruption fueled by scheming executives and underhanded deals in this madcap satire on business morality and success. Moranis was riding high on recent comedic successes when he took a supporting role as a quirky office drone, but the film's satirical tone immediately clashed with his subtle approach, leading him to demand rewrites that would give his character more nuance and confound directors who feared undermining the broader comedy. The tension exploded on set through extended debates that drew in other cast members about the best approach for workplace humor, with Moranis retreating between takes for late-night conversations about maintaining sanity during the high-pressure shoot. The production faced brutal battles with ratings boards over risque humor and pointed social commentary, with several crude jokes involving sexual innuendo getting flagged by studio executives and test audiences who worried about crossing lines. Producers reluctantly sliced entire gags to avoid an R rating, sanitizing the final cut in ways that dulled the movie's satirical edge and left cast members lamenting what got lost in the quest for accessibility. Martin Mull, playing one of the most notorious executives, clashed repeatedly with the director over characterization and screen time, frequently ad-libbing lines that drove the director crazy while demanding greater creative control. Tempers flared during late-night shoots, with Mull threatening to quit unless more of his improvisations made the final cut, forcing the crew to broker impromptu compromises that blended his off-the-cuff comedy with scripted material. The feud made production headlines in entertainment circles and temporarily strained Mull's Hollywood relationships, proving that sometimes the funniest moments happen when comedians fight each other harder than they fight the script. Ferris Bueller's Day Off made Matthew Broderick the poster boy for teenage rebellion, but behind that effortless charm was an actor drowning in grief and pressure he could barely handle. High school senior Ferris Bueller fakes an illness to skip school, recruits his anxious best friend Cameron and girlfriend Sloane for a wild Chicago adventure, visiting city landmarks and leading a parade crowd in twist and shout, while his suspicious sister and relentless principal Ed Rooney tried desperately to expose his ruse. Broderick was secretly mourning his father's sudden death that occurred just before production began, leaving him emotionally raw while everyone expected him to embody carefree confidence as the funniest kid in America. Director John Hughes kept production flexible to allow Broderick moments of privacy, sometimes causing delays for cast and crew who didn't understand why their star kept retreating from gatherings. Broderick's budding romance with co-star Jennifer Grey bloomed during the shoot, with the pair quietly getting engaged without telling the studio, forcing Hughes to ask them to dial down their affection between takes, so sibling tension remained believable on screen. The iconic parade scene became a logistical nightmare because filmmakers didn't secure official permits and had to embed shooting into the actual Von Steuben Day parade, with Broderick performing his own dancing atop a float for hours, while technical errors caused it to start and stop abruptly, nearly throwing him off multiple times. Miyasara suffered temporary partial hearing loss from blaring speakers, while the unscripted energy of real parade attendees flooding the streets created a citywide traffic jam that forced Chicago police to briefly halt filming. Studio executives were alarmed by the film's casual promotion of skipping school, with early test screenings triggering outcry from parents and teachers who argued it glamorized truancy. The studio pushed Hughes hard to film a scene where the principal finally catches Ferris, arguing audiences needed to see consequences, but Hughes refused to compromise his vision of guilt-free rebellion, and that decision alone sparked years of debate between parents who thought the film encouraged bad behavior and kids who saw it as permission to question pointless rules.